Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This video we are looking at the NFL Draftkings and Fanduel core plays for the Sunday slate for tomorrow. We have a 13-game slate. A lot of news has dropped on this one already. McCaffrey is not going to play again, so that's huge. Jordan Mason's a great value again on both sites. We'll get into some of the other plays. I'll fill out some of these spots that I like right now. On paper, there are some obvious spots that look really good. Week 1 was a little low scoring. You only had a couple of big fantasy performances from like Tyreek Hill and like Nico Collins, and then you had a lot of stud players underperform this week. Hopefully we get a little bit of a different situation. You got a lot of good players in good spots, some good games to target, so let's get started. If you enjoy the content, appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. Check out the website if you want the full picks for tomorrow. Its link is in the description. And let's get started. So at the quarterback position, before we get into that, just some games to target that look really good. Could be high scoring. Tampa, Detroit, and the 1 o'clock games. And then you got a couple of the games later on. You have the Chiefs and the Bengals. And you have the Rams and the Cardinals. Both look like good spots to target. At the quarterback position, you're always trying to get some guys with some rushing upside, if possible, that are in good spots. And you have Anthony Richardson staring at you at $6,800 if you don't want to go up to Mahomes, who's a couple $100 more. Had a rushing touchdown again in Week 1. He's done that in almost every game he's played in the 5 or 6 games that he's played. I think he's only had one game without one. So he's always looking to run a little bit, and his arm is just absolutely elite. The Packers defense had a ton of holes in it in Week 1. So I'm going to put him in right now. You can go with Mahomes if you want to at $7K. Lamar is a little bit more expensive at $77, but I think Mahomes at $7K if you want to stack the Chiefs. They look like a great stack. And then if you want to go in the low $6K range, you have Jalen Daniels, again, who looked really good with his rushing upside. 16 carries or rushing attempts on the ground for him. 88 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. And he did put the ball on the ground a lot, but he did not lose a fumble, which is good. But this spot, Giants defense, we know is terrible. Overall, Giants look poor in Week 1. I think Daniels at home is going to continue to run a little bit and maybe can even get you a 100-yard bonus on the ground. So at 62, if you're looking at young quarterbacks with a rushing upside, it's him, Daniels. Then you have Baker, who looked really good in Week 1. 4 touchdowns. Granted, it's against the Commanders' defense, but he looked really good, locked in. And he has weapons, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. He has guys that can get open, elite receivers. So, and the spot here should be high scoring. Another game that looks good to target was that in a dome in Detroit. And then down below, you have Fields if you want to take a shot on value. But there's a ton of value at running back this week. And you have some really good receivers that aren't crazy expensive. So I'm going to go with Richardson at 68 as my quarterback. Running back, you got cheap options here. No McCaffrey. So your most expensive guy is 77 for Jonathan Taylor, who's fine, but I think Breece Hall looks better. A guy that gives you both upside to catch passes as well. Jets going into San Francisco Week 1. Got off to a decent start, but then think their offense kind of stalled out. I think Hall is going to bounce back here at $7,400 against the Tennessee. And we know Rodgers looks to him in when he's looking for checkdowns or in the receiving game, and he's just playing a lot of snaps. So got to put him in at 74. I like him more than Etienne against the Browns defense. Like him more than Kamara against the Cowboys defense. And then you got Kyren Williams, looks like a good play. The Rams are one of the teams that they rely on a few players to really get a lot of their production, especially now that Puka is out. It's going to be Kyren Williams, Cooper Kupp dominating the fantasy points, and you have like Demarcus Robinson as a value, you have Parkinson, the tight end, as a value. Other guys at running back and mid-range plays are, Gibbs, James Conner. You stay away from Josh Jacobs just this week because Malik Willis, quarterback, that might struggle to move the ball and put up points. I think Gibbs and Conner are in better spots, and both guys, especially Conner's going to be a workhorse. Gibbs still loses some touches to David Montgomery. We saw Kenneth Walker is doubtful for this contest, so without him, you're going to see Zach Charbonnet at 58 be a decent value if you wanted to get to him. But you have so many guys that are good plays, Ford, that are cheap. Pollard looked good in Week 1, and you have Stevenson is going to get most of the touches, even though the matchup isn't great against the Seahawks defense. But if you're looking for value, you got to go with the guy that absolutely dominated for the 49ers without McCaffrey. That's $5,400 for Mason here, or maybe it's 52. Yeah, it's $5,200. 25 fantasy points for Jordan Mason. 29 touches, broke off some long runs, and the matchup was tough against the Jets defense. Gets a better matchup here against the Vikings. So in a dome, I'm going to take Mason at 52. I mean, he's going to be popular, but it's the type of play that's a little tough to avoid. Wide receivers, you have CD and Justin Jefferson as your pay-ups, but I think the best option is Cooper Kupp at 76. 21 targets for him. I mean, without Puka, he's going to get all the volume. So in a spot here against the Cardinals defense, which isn't anything great, you're just going to get a ton of volume, a guy that gives you so much upside, not too much explaining to be done with Cooper Kupp without Puka, and Matthew Stafford is still the quarterback, so he's the best option I like at 76. I think Evans looks really good at 75 if you're looking to stack up the Bucs a little bit or get some action from that game. Values here, you have Rashee Rice at 67. Him and Worthy are both good plays. We saw that Marquise Brown is now on IR. He's going to miss maybe months. So that just makes Rice and Worthy look like good plays until he is back, and look like really good plays, especially until their price tags get moved up. So 67 against the Chiefs for Rashee Rice is a really good play. Tough to look elsewhere if you're looking at cash games. Tournaments, maybe look to Worthy instead. At 61, a boom or bust play. Only 3 targets, but 2 went for... one went for a touchdown, then you got a carry for a touchdown as well. Chris Godwin at 6K, value pick. I like that. And there's a more value at running back than receiver, but a couple guys that look good at receiver that are cheap are from, some teams that are missing options. So DeMarcus Robinson, $4,000 for the Rams, and then you got Andre Iosivas at 38 for the Bengals. They both look good. I'm going to put in Iosivas for right now at 38. If you look at the snap counts for week 1, he was on the field for every single snap for the Bengals. He was running routes basically every time he was out there in passing situations. So got 51 snaps, 100% in week 1. You have T. Higgins is doubtful, so unless miraculously he gets upgraded, I am going to keep him in there. Bengals offense looked terrible. See if Burrow is able to look a little bit better. I know there were some concerns. He was moving his wrist around a little bit. Maybe he wasn't 100% there. But anyways, if you get a guy at 38 who's going to be on the field at receiver, you have Joe Burrow as a quarterback, and you get a high-scoring affair potentially against the Chiefs. I will sign up for that. So those are the plays I like at the core plays. If you're looking at tight end, you want to pay up for anybody. Laporte at 63. Lions offense. Both him and Amon-Ra didn't have good fantasy games, but I still like him in this spot against Tampa. He'd be my top pay-up option. Value-wise, tough now picking between Andrews and Likely. It's Andrews is a guy that's getting paid more, but Likely is a guy that gives you more upside. Cowboys going to be without Ferguson, it looks like. So look at their backup. It's going to be Schoonmaker. 29 could be a decent play. The Cowboys still like to throw the ball. They didn't really have to do a ton in the first game because the Browns just were not competitive. And then you want to go for another value. It's Parkinson at 31 for the Rams. Just going to get some targets, especially without Puka there. Defenses looking to pay down here. You have maybe like the Packers at 20, or not the Packers, unless you're not playing Anthony Richardson. But Richardson's still a guy that could turn the ball over. So you could look there if you wanted to. Other plays would be maybe going up to the Broncos defense at $2,800 against Justin Fields. You could take a shot on the Patriots defense, missing. Likely going to be without Kenneth Walker. Obviously hurts the Seahawks offense a little bit. And pay downs. I don't know if there's any that look amazing. You could. Yeah, I don't know if there's any that look really good below 26. And pay-ups, obviously. The Cowboys looked elite week 1. The Saints offense did look good too, so I don't know if I want to pay all the way up by 4K for them. I think the Steelers against Bo Nix. Looks like a good play at 35 if you wanted to get to them. Or maybe the Chargers, anybody going up against the Panthers looks like a good defense. To target Bryce Young is just awful. So that's what I got for right now. My main plays on DraftKings. Pretty similar on FanDuel. I'll just go over them. FanDuel, pretty similar with the plays. They are all exactly the same, except I have James Conner in there at 65, and I don't have ILC just because there's a good value at running back on FanDuel. It can still be a good play. See what his price tag is. I missed it. $100, good play, but you have a running back. You have a ton of guys that are in the low 6K, mid 6K range. So, and then you have obviously Jordan Mason at 55, who's going to be tough to get away from. But I like Connor just with the workhorse that he's going to be out of the backfield for the Cardinals. Other plays that are cheap at running back that look good are Ford, Charbonnet. Both guys are going to get touches, especially dealing with injuries. And then Kupp and Rice are still my favorite receivers. They're not overly expensive, especially when you get guys almost 9K at 9K, and then you have some other ones more expensive than guys that should get a ton of targets, probably 30% plus of the target share from both their respective quarterbacks. And tight end, same deal, same guys I mentioned on the DraftKings side. Defenses, the Broncos look good here. They're cheap, $3,400. So they'd probably be one that I'd look to target. And that's pretty much it for the video. Best of luck if you are going to be using some of these plays. Let me know some picks that you like in the comments. Check out the site if you want to join, dfsprocess.net. And I will catch you all next time. Best of luck.